Acharya Shri Vijay Vallabh School, Pune brings to you a webinar on Habit of Surprising, a boost to creative thinking. To boost your self-esteem, to promote thinking and problem-solving skills by our speaker Manjiri Sule. To develop ideas and expand their possibilities, our chairman Shri Subhashji Parmar has inspired and guided us to enter your happy zone and have fun. To encourage yourself to be lifelong learners, let's begin with our today's interesting webinar.
Good morning to one and all. I, Avelina John, on behalf of Acharya Shri Vijay Vallabh School, welcome you all for today's Sunday hour with our honorable guest, Mrs. Manjiri Sule ma'am, on the topic, Habit of Surprising, a boost to create thinking. We at our school, with the inspiration and guidance from our chairman, Shri Subhashji Parmar sir, and members of the committee have organized this webinar. Now, let's move to our today's topic. Everybody has a creative potential, and from the moment you can express this creative potential, you can start changing the world. Creative thinking is a way of moving beyond barriers. As a creative thinker, you are curious, optimistic, and imaginative. Yes, it is rightly said. Creativity is just learning to do something with different perspective. So let's give our children the opportunity to stir up life and leave it free to discover. I now hand over to our principal, Mrs. Snehal Khataukar ma'am, to brief us about our school. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning to one and all. It's a great pleasure to welcome you all to Vijay Vallabh Sunday Hour. I thank our today's eminent speaker, Mrs. Manjiri Sule ma'am, for accepting the invitation and presiding over the webinar on the topic, Habit of Surprising, a boost to creative thinking. It is rightly said, creative thinking is a skill that anyone can nurture or develop. Creative thinking is the ability to consider something in a new way. It might be a new approach to a problem. In order to give boost to creative thinking in the students, we at Acharya Shri Vijay Vallabh School plan and execute activities like to conduct various international virtual exchange programs, perform role plays, arrange educational visits, various festivals are celebrated, we display various art and craft activities, conduct science exhibition, and many more activities in the school, so that our students will be thoughtful, dynamic, flexible, original, and novel. I wholeheartedly thank our chairman, Sri Subhashji Parmar, for the strong support given to us for such an innovative and informative webinar. The creative product is an act that produces an effective surprises. So let's move further and gain more information on the topic, Habit of Surprising, a boost to creative thinking. Thank you. Over to you, Evelina.
Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful views. Now, I would like to introduce to you our guest of honor. On behalf of our school, I am glad to welcome our guest for today, Mrs. Manjiri Sule ma'am. Ma'am is a senior educationist, school consultant, educational counselor, person with diversified background and interests in arts, social science, research, IT, and much more. She has conducted research in health economics, having research write-ups published in her name. She is also a senior solution designer in IT industry and has played roles in development and delivery of products and projects in medical electronics, industrial automation, IT network management, security solutions, as well banking and finance, enterprise solutions and legal systems. Ma'am is a specialist in educational quality assessment. She is a senior educationist, having contributed to capacity and capability building of educational institutions, management, leadership, and faculty. Over more than 30 years of professional experience, she has transitioned to her personal focus on designing and offering programs for psychological development and well-being, along with career building perspective from early childhood through schools, parents, teachers, and students themselves. Ma'am, we are indeed very fortunate and blessed to have you with us this morning to share your views. Over to you, Manjiri, ma'am.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful introduction. I myself am feeling very wonderful to hear something about me so greatly said. But humbly, I would like to say perhaps I would want to very happily and effectively live up to your expectations through next 1 hour, and I'm looking forward to that. This is actually not my first session with the school. We are a family and have been working with school as well as had given earlier some sessions. So few of the parents, teachers, definitely we are friends. Few of the parents perhaps also know me. Before maybe going ahead with today's topic, as Principal Ma'am very rightly said, and she gave, if I just want to inform you, she gave a definition of, in a sense, creativity. A creative product is an act that produces an effective surprise. This definition, I would like you to tell, was given in 1958 by a famous psychologist called Berner. Now, since we are in Pune, with this particular definition keeping in mind, let me just start with our homage to one of the beloved person from Pune city whom we lost this week. And he was one person, one example, you all will agree with me when I take his name, who had given us effective surprises every now and then in different fields, whether it is writing, whether it is music, bansuri, whether it is origami, whether it's art, sketches. My beloved writer, my beloved person, Anil Avsat, who has worked in a social field also. So that kind of a person who has worked in so many areas, many of you know, many of you must have read about him, has given the output, the product, the writing, the art of work, Kashta Shilpa, is something that has surprised us every time. And that is what we call creativity, creative product, creative thinking. But I would at the same time like to tell you that creative thinking is not something that only the people who have certain talent in art or certain skill, only they can have creativity or creative thinking. And the whole session we are going to talk about by creating a belief in ourselves that each one of us can develop creative thinking. How we will see. One of the maybe example that I would like to give to you is, it is creative thinking that has made this entire world, that this civilization improve and evolve the way it is today. If you agree with me, it was the caveman who was sitting or who was residing in the caves, then he came out, he saw light, then there was maybe invention of fire, invention of the wheel, agriculture we started, until now, this entire digital technology inventions that are happening. Last 2 weeks back, there was one of the news that in medical science, animal's heart was genetically modified and transplanted to a man who was suffering from almost critical. He was about to die, and then he got life because of this invention, this scientific experiment. So entire history in one line, if I want to say entire history, is because of almost each and every one who has an ability to think creatively. I guess we can start with the question answer session, so that I will elaborate more on what I want to say, how we can do it, how we can define certain things so that we can maybe create that belief in us, and then how we can have certain habits, as the title says, which will make us think more creatively every now and then. So may I request to start the question and answer session, through which I can present you some content, also elaborate on the answers, so that we can take the ideas and this discussion ahead.
Thank you, ma'am, for your motivating and inspiring views. I now hand over to Rupali for the question and answer session. Over to you, Rupali.
Thank you, Adelina. Good morning, everyone. Ma'am, in your introduction, you spoke about creative thinking. So, we are eager to know more about it. So, let's begin with the question answer session. I request our parent, Mrs. Naina Oswal, to ask question to our guest.
Good morning, everyone. Hello. Good morning.
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah, okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mrs. Naina Oswal. My child is Shreyans, studying in standard 1st B. I would like to ask my question to Mrs. Manjiri Sule, ma'am. My question is, ma'am, my son is good in drawing and daughter is good in singing. What can I do to make them make creative? Please give your guidance and suggestion, ma'am, please.
मेरा बेटा ड्राइंग में अच्छा है और बेटी गायन में अच्छी है. मैं उन्हें और अधिक रचनात्मक बनाने के लिए क्या कर सकता हूँ? Over to you, Manjiri ma'am.
Oh, thank you so much, both Rupali ma'am and Naina ma'am. And I congratulate Naina ma'am for having such talented kids and wanting to encourage especially their talent in the field of art. We see very little, very less number of parents who want their children to improve and do something more in art. And there is a lot of focus on academic subjects. So it's a good question and I'm very happy. Let me give you two differences. Like we're talking about your son is very good in drawing and you are saying that your daughter is very good in singing. There could be many more children in our school and parents who are listening who are maybe having their children good in different kind of art. Drawing, if you say drawing, it could be sketching, painting, it could be music, then it could be singing, it could be maybe some music instruments. This is talent. This is skill. This art that they are performing is something that can be developed by practicing more and more, taking lessons in music, taking lessons in drawing, painting. But that is a skill development. Okay. Today we are talking, and your question is how to improve the creativity. Today we are talking about creativity and creative thinking. So what is the difference between art as a skill and art having the creativity and creative thinking? For example, there are many people who do drawing, sketches. There are many singers nowadays. We see so many little kids doing so wonderful singing. But there are very few people who go to the level of maybe, if you allow me to take very big names, like maybe Hussein or Picasso or maybe Pandit Jasraj ji or Bismillah Khan ji, or even the name that I took just when I was introducing the topic, Mr. Anil Ausat. He was one amongst us, I would like to say. So these people are not just having excellent talent or excellent skill, but they're using this talent and skill with a creative thinking. And what is the difference? Because they're contributing something to the art. For example, Anil Ausat, when he is doing his origami, he has invented some folds in origami. And the country of origin of origami, Japan, in their museum has created a section of his origami work where he has used the folds which were not used by anyone else till now. So his work of art is having a special space. Pandit Jasaji has invented some new ragas. There are many people. Picasso has a different, very typical, very different style. It is his style. Dali has his style. Late Mr. Hussain had his own style. So what these people do when they had talent, they use their creativity to contribute more to that particular type of art. Okay. So when we are saying our children are good, we should not only encourage their talent, make them maybe learn the skills from different experts of the field, but we should also encourage their creativity and creative thinking. Okay, to answer the question whether we can increase your daughter and son's drawing and singing perhaps to different level, yes, as a skill, definitely yes. For increasing their creativity and creative thinking, we'll have to have a different focus given to them. And we'll talk about that in our session. If Rupali ma'am think it right, maybe we can go to another question so that answer to Naina ma'am will also be more clear with different questions and discussions that we are having. So Naina ma'am, please wait for further discussion also to get a more clear answer for yourselves.
Yes, thank you, ma'am, for giving the information how we can create creativity with the children. Now, my next question, I would request our parent, Mrs. Naina Katare, to ask question to our ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. My name Mrs. Neha Katare, and my child Shlok Katare is studying in standard 4th B. I would like to ask my question to Mrs. Manjiri Sule, ma'am. What is the difference between creativity and creative thinking?
A very good question. रचनात्मकता और रचनात्मक सोच में क्या अंतर है? Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Rupali ma'am, for a very correct Hindi translation of creativity and creative thinking. And there are two Nainas, and they are really keeping me on my toes when they're asking me this type of questions. So let me explain. Like we talked about art as a talent and skill. Further level in that is creativity and or creative thinking. Now there is a difference in creativity and creative thinking. Creativity is bringing something into existence, any product or any process, any new thing, as we talk about the new folds by Anil Ausat or the new ragas created or the new styles of painting and the painting created using that particular style. So creativity is the outcome, the output of creative thinking. Okay. Creative thinking is a mental process, is a cognitive process that happens within our system, within our brain, based on our experience, based on our particular domain. If I'm a singer, if I'm a writer, if I'm a painter, or scientist in a particular field, or a social scientist, or a language expert, based on my domain experience and expertise and the skill related to that, what is the further thinking process, the mature thinking process with which I'm going to give birth to some creativity, some product, some service, some new way of thinking. Okay, so that is creative thinking. Creative thinking is a process, whereas creativity is the seen product, something that comes into existence because of that creative thinking. Now, I would like, if you allow, Rupali ma'am and all the parents, I would like to take slightly more time to answer this question because we are talking about creative thinking. As I said, creative thinking is a mental process. What happens in that mental process? As I said, we have to have some experience in a particular field so that our brain has some knowledge about that particular field about which we are going to think creatively. When we have that knowledge, there are different processes happening. There are different dimensions to creative thinking. Maybe we are combining some existing ideas that we know because we have learned about it, we have knowledge about it. Maybe we are combining existing ideas and some new insights that come to our mind, come to our brain, new ideas. So we are maybe combining those. Maybe we are manipulating certain ideas about that are existing and associating those ideas with something else. In our day-to-day life also, there are many instances where we see this type of combining of ideas. Okay, allow me to share one picture at this point to maybe tell you what I'm trying to say. Just give me a minute so that I can share the PPT and we can see a picture together. One second, yeah. I'm sharing a screen. Just tell me when you can see it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So do you see the picture? This is a day-to-day creativity that I'm talking about. This is existing experience. Like a person has to take 2 children to school. It's a city. Now, we know there are autos, there are vans, but there is also somebody who wants to take them double seat on a cycle. Now, taking 2 children on double seat cycle is a risk in a city with so much of traffic. What the person has used? Existing idea, existing, maybe his experience that children are falling, cycles are maybe balance is not being kept, there is a risk to children. He just used one simple carrier, cut it, and made those children sit in that. So he has combined different ideas, different experiences that he has, and created a very beautiful, safe solution to a problem area. Okay. So what I'm trying to tell you is creative thinking has the ability to combine ideas for maybe giving some solution to a problem or creating work of art or living our day-to-day life more positively. We heard one word in our question answers when in our introduction, the effective surprise. So this is a very effective surprise, you know. We haven't seen so many of these type of baskets, but we haven't thought perhaps of this kind of use. We know the problem of carrying children to school, but we haven't perhaps thought this type of solution. So there is a surprise. Getting me? So creative thinking, when I was trying to give answer to creativity and creative thinking, we'll talk more about creative thinking later, but this is the difference. Creativity is this product, this carrier that person has created by combining 2 different ideas to solve a problem. And the process of thinking that might have gone behind this particular solution is a creative thinking. I hope I'm clear. To another Naina ma'am's question.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving information about the difference between creativity and creative thinking. I request Urvisha Rathod to ask question to our guest.
Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, my name is Urvisha Rathod. I would like to ask you a question. Can we enhance creative thinking?
क्या हम रचनात्मक सोच को बढ़ा सकते हैं? Over to you, ma'am.
Definitely. And this is why perhaps the session is. So to give you answer one word, yes, we can. Of course, I need to elaborate slightly more on this as a creative thinking. As such, going to experts, learning talent, enhancing our skills with expertise is one thing. But creative thinking is a cognitive process, and for which perhaps we'll have to have a deliberate focus on developing or enhancing creative thinking in every one of us, irrespective of the age. Okay. To elaborate more on this, let's first go into more details of what creative thinking, so that it will be more clear to you. Creative thinking it has many aspects. Creative thinking is creating number of ideas about one particular thing. For example, in our day-to-day life, say there is a birthday in a family. There is, say, Papa's birthday. And now in this pandemic, we can't have usual celebration, go out, watch cinema, go to hotels or something. And even otherwise, I would say that is a very regular way of celebrating a birthday. So can we create a challenge in our home? Can we all discuss, forget Papa, perhaps you would want to give him a surprise. But the mother, maybe Papa's parents, Papa's some friends or relatives or children, everyone can brainstorm with the idea, like how differently can we celebrate Papa's birthday? And what we are doing by brainstorming, we are generating many more ideas. So generating number of ideas about, say, what menu we can have, what he likes, what we can do, what other gift we can give him, which he will be surprised of. So there could be many number of ideas that we can talk about. That is creative thinking. They're challenging our creative thinking, very meaningful, very effective, very surprising to our dear person. But creative thinking is also variety of ideas. For example, if we start brainstorming in the house कि पापा का birthday बनाना है, तो क्या करें खाने? So we are generating ideas only about men. That is not variety. We will get many ideas. Children will give some preference. Mama will give some preference. Maybe Papa's mother, who knows what Papa likes from childhood, will give some different idea about what we make. Maybe you can all decide about morning, evening, different menus. But these are only one type of idea, though the number of ideas are more. Now, another aspect that I'm trying to tell you is about variety of idea. So what is the variety? You can think, maybe when you are brainstorming, you can think about, or you can give clues. Okay, this is about menu, but what else? What more? What gift we can give? Can we make a gift at home? Every time we give him something that he likes, maybe same color of shirt, or maybe same pen or watch. These are very usual gifts. What is different that we can give him? Whether we can call one of his childhood friend, he's not in touch, whether we can get this, whether we can get maybe some of the clips. I know one of my friend's daughter, she wanted to celebrate my friend's birthday, and she contacted so many of, now I'm 54 and it was 50th birthday that time. I remember for 50 years, whoever were the friends and whoever had come in touch with that friend of mine, her daughter took efforts to contact all of them and gathered letters from all of them and kept it in a gift jar. And when that friend of mine, when she opened that jar and she was reading every letter and reading the name, it was such a huge surprise. So again, what I'm trying to tell is it's a variety, it's a different kind of ideas. It's not just about menu. If we start brainstorming, maybe we tend to think more and more about the same kind of idea. But creative thinking is also thinking about various types of ideas. Creative thinking is also maybe playing with ideas. Like the person we saw, he played with the idea of the career, right? There is a change in perspective. We use the boxes for some purpose, but उसकी तरफ देखने का हमारा तरीका ही उसने बदल दिया, so that उसके मन में, खुद के मन में उसने वो तरीका बदल दिया था. उसने कैरियर को, उसने वो बॉक्स को कैरियर की तरफ इमेजिन किया, उसने पर्सपेक्टिव चेंज किया. इसके लिए बहुत सारे, when we talk about maybe experimenting, playing with ideas, when you talk about fathers, maybe mama gave some idea about some weird dish that we have not even heard about that time. So our poor mama will have to experiment with that recipe number of times. First time it might not be good. If you remember, a reporter had asked Edison, don't you feel bad that 1,000 times you failed? And you all know the answer. Edison said, it was my 1,000th step that created the bulb. So I don't feel bad. So playing with ideas is like experimenting. If you want to creatively think, and we are talking about whether we can enhance creative thinking, we have to get into these habits of creating number of ideas, creating variety of ideas. Now I'm talking about creating, maybe experimenting with the ideas. And experimenting with the ideas can be to solve problem. Maybe many a times there are many big problems in our house, like maybe a child has done something and he wants to tell something to father or mother, or parents might have to tell something to teachers. And how do we communicate? We start right away with the problem. Ma'am, this is what happened. Mama, this is what has happened. Let me share my screen once again. And I'm sure many of you must have seen this, but what I'm trying to say, changing the perspective is also creativity. I'll just give you example. Those who have seen this particular maybe picture that I'm telling, anyways, we are not having a live session where we can talk. Many of you must have seen this cartoon, and I've hidden a part of this a third last part of the cartoon. Okay, just think about for a second. I won't be able to have your answers. Chintu is saying, Papa, नदीचं पाणी कुठे जातं हो? ही नदी मोठ्या नदीला मिळते, मोठी नदी समुद्राला मिळते. पापा, ये पानी कहाँ जा रहा है? ये तो पापा बोल रहे नदी है, रिवर है. रिवर will meet some bigger river and it will finally go to the ocean. And just for a moment who have not seen this picture, okay, not seen this cartoon, and let me now show you what Chintu has given the answer. Papa, तुमच्या स्कूटरची किल्ली नदीत पडली आहे म्हणून विचारतोय. So it was actually a very big, very serious problem that Chintu had, but he changed the perspective of telling his problem to his papa. Now, what will papa do? What will papa do? Will he be immediately very angry with him? अरे बाबा काय केलंस? आता काय करूया? He reaction will, or there is a possibility of having a slightly different reaction. So that is what I was thinking, playing with ideas, experimenting, changing a perspective. I would suggest to our children, to parents, to teachers, to everyone, there is a appropriateness. Maybe we cannot use Chintu's technique every time. If we don't have that confidence, if we don't have the surety, if the problem is very grave, perhaps this thinking will not help. Be careful. But I know. I think Chintu's very famous creator had been also to the one of these webinars or some other cartoon maker, and we have very good discussions with that person. So here is a different. I just want to reiterate again: creating drawings of cartoons is an art, is a talent, is a skill. But thinking on behalf of that cartoon to give such surprise, which creates humor. Maybe for Chintu's father, it was another problem, but for us, viewers of the cartoon, I saw some of the faces just now, were actually smiling very pleasantly at that cartoon's last section where Chintu answered that. So it was a humor that was created. So the surprise that was created for us, that surprising answer was pleasant for us. So Chintu's maker creatively thought and with his skill drew this cartoon. Okay. Going ahead with my creative thinking, it was, I spoke about number of ideas. I spoke about variety of ideas that we need to create. I spoke about playing with ideas, experimenting with ideas. There is another thing, like I said about that carrier, it's manipulating ideas. There are gissy, petty ideas, many years, many more times we have the same ideas. But we can manipulate that ideas like he manipulated, the person manipulated. I'll tell you another example of manipulation. We all know will was invented thousands years back. And the boxes to store, boxes to carries, or the bags to carries, again, we have been using for 100 years. But it's just this century, maybe 3-4 decades back, that we started getting a bag, travel bag with the wheels to it, right? What is this? This is manipulating two different ideas. The bag to carry, the heavy bag and boxes to carry, and having posters or wheels to that. So the wheel that was supposed to be used for vehicles or something is now, the idea is manipulated and used to create a new product, and which is so useful in the world now. You all will agree. Can you allow me to again share my screen and show you another manipulation of ideas? You will maybe enjoy that once again. Manipulation ideas we are talking about. And I'll go ahead and maybe, this is manipulation of idea. Okay, we all know syntax. We all know syntax tanks. We all know in the rural areas, there are no toilets available in the schools or even the houses. There is a problem of resources, money, constructing cement toilets, full-fledged toilets. But what a beautiful manipulation we are having. So creativity again here, it is used for some constraints, some problems, some maybe restraints. जहाँ पे resources कम है, problem solving में, there are challenges to solve the problem. And it's the manipulation of ideas that gives us maybe the solution like this. I'll give you another example, and which is, you will very well connect with that. What are the petrol prices these days? Somebody who is having horse, somebody who is having car, it's a bailgadi, and a horse cart is a different thing. But now it's maybe very well, very nice, comfortable part of car with wheels. But instead of petrol, we are having a powerful horse carrying our car. So again, this is a manipulation of idea to maybe create some solution. So we are talking again about creative thinking, creating number of ideas, creating variety of ideas, experimenting with ideas, manipulating ideas. And now let me, maybe it's the last part of creative thinking that I want to talk about. Few last parts is quality of thinking. You know, appropriateness. I told you about Chintu's answer. We cannot everyone the event or problem that we want to narrate with somebody. Our first definition that ma'am said and who in 1958 told is about effective output, effective surprise. So it has to be effective to be useful to somebody. I can show you what is that. Okay, we can have very good creativity. We can have very good work of art created, product created. Let me share another screen. Not this. Very nice material, nice kettle that somebody has created and had very innovative idea about the shape and this one and that one. But is this an appropriate solution? Is this effective solution? Is this useful solution? No, it is not. So certainly, creative solution needs the effectiveness, the usefulness of that. So we are talking about creative thing in which another aspect is the usefulness of the idea. It's not just number of ideas, not variety of ideas, but it has to be useful. It has to be effective. Another aspect is novelty. We spoke about it. Something हटके पापा को देना है, सरप्राइज देना है, गिफ्ट देना है, बर्थडे सेलिब्रेशन करना है. बहुत सारे घिसी पिटी आइडिया रहेंगे, लेकिन अगर हम दिमाग को जोर लगाए तो बहुत हटके आइडिया, एक नॉवेल आइडिया आएगी, which is part of creative thinking. Elaboration of idea. Many times we have seen, and I have said that in the beginning that the history of mankind is a evolution of surprising ideas, of creative thinking. So there the elaboration is required. Let me give you one example. I won't share the screen this time. You are bored of my sharing of screens, I know. A month back, maybe first week of January, last week of December, I was taking a offline session. I was with children, 20 children of age 13, 14 in one of the schools, and I was taking a session, and I had given them one idea, one group work to do, to create an advertisement in whatever form they want for a wall clock without the hands, and it should not be a digital wall clock. With the digital is with the numbers that we see. It has to be a traditional wall clock, but it need not have the hands, and you have to sell that particular wall clock. Now I was expecting some idea of selling it, but one of the child was so brilliant that he not only had the idea of how that wall clock will be, and then they will sell it, and then they will create some idea for selling it. For that particular wall clock, he went on giving so many details. So it was almost a technical specification, technical brochure was created by that 13-year-old child. What he did, there will be a wall clock, there will be numbers, there won't be hands. But if, for example, 1 o'clock is there, then the 1 will light up, glitter. Now, how will we know minutes? So around 1, around 2, and around 3, there will be 12 rounds, 12 circles. And after 5 minutes after 1, it will be the 5th circle that will glow with 1. 15 minutes after 2, it will the 15th circle that will glow. So that without the hands, the clock, the wall clock will be able to tell us time. This is elaboration of idea. So something new comes to children's mind, we will encourage them to, okay, how, why? So how it will work? What will you do to make it functioning, make it operational? Of course, I had not asked any question to that child, but he himself has that talent. that creative thinking of coming out with an idea and elaborating that. For example, in our good old papa's birthday gift, somebody will come in the house with a very novel idea about making something with a hand and giving that gift. Then all of you can sit together and maybe elaborate on that idea. What material we will use, what shape it will have, what use it will have. So there will be so many detailed ideas to be developed for one particular single idea about creating the gift at home, which our papa will like, which will be useful to him, which will be a good surprise to him, but it will be with many, many more details. So when I wanted to answer the question, can we enhance creative thinking? I said my one word answer is yes. My one sentence answer is yes, irrespective of age, we can enhance creative thinking. But I went into so many details of so many dimensions of creative thinking, number of ideas, variety of ideas, playing with ideas, manipulating ideas, quality, novelty, usefulness, and elaboration. These are all dimensions of creative thinking. And if we want to take efforts, it's not just sending them to art class or music class or something, but it's challenging their creative thinking for these type of idea generation in their mind. And for that, we'll have to take some special efforts, special focus programs to be designed, to be attended, special efforts to be taken at home by parents, special efforts to be taken at teachers at maybe school, and some other more focus programs to be given to them in order to enhance their creative thinking. Rupali ma'am, I'm talking too many details, but you can move to other answers. I hope I'm not taking much time, but these questions are so complex and the creative thinking idea is so complex that I need to give detailed answers.
Very well explained, ma'am. In detail, you have given us very, very nice examples and we understood it. I request Bhavika Rathod to ask the question to our guest.
Hello, good morning, ma'am. This is Bhavika here, teacher at Acharya Shri Vijay Vallabh School. Ma'am, I would like to ask you that how can we enhance creative thinking in our children in school?
हम रचनात्मक सोच को कैसे बढ़ा सकते हैं? Over to you, ma'am.
Again, as a teacher, Bhavika, I think Bhavika, I'm face-to-face meeting you first time. I'm sorry, I'm taking advantage of my age and calling you Bhavika. Bhavika, it's a very nice question. How can we enhance creative thinking? I'll answer both at home and class on a daily basis. Like on a daily basis, maybe at home I'm talking about, or even in your classrooms, you can think. Every one of us give surprises, like to give surprises. Every one of us likes surprises ourselves. Why? Because they're pleasant, they're happy. If we get some surprising news that is sad news, that is not happy, we don't call it surprise, right? We call it a shock. Oh my God, I'm shocked. But surprise is everyone of like because it is very happy. So to challenge, to have trigger to our creative thinking, to generate new ideas, variety of ideas, all that I've spoken about, we can all simply think about one thing, one habit. Can we create a surprise for somebody on a daily basis? If I get up in the morning, can I create a surprise for my daughter? For example, let me tell you, I have a cat, and on daily basis, I give some new name to that cat. Yesterday, it was a bomb because it was like my cat is very active. So it was an atomic bomb thrashing all the things in home. Today, it is Bundisa Ladu. Now, whom I'm making happy? The poor cat is not understanding all that, but my daughter who listens to this name daily, she giggles and her morning starts with such a good laughter. Okay, so it's a, now she doesn't imagine, yesterday that was a bomb and today how can it be Bundisa Ladu? So it's a surprise that I've gave to her. I give to her every day. And her day starts with very good. We have very old people at home, maybe some ill people at home. What is the surprise we can give? Siblings, mother, father, neighbors, friends, phone call to old friend, any person, any surprise. Person has to feel that wow effect, aha effect. So if every one of us decide, there's not only a surprise for people at home, school, my friends, it could be a surprise to plants, it could be for a particular plant, maybe I can have some decoration around it, for my animal, for my house, for a wall, I can have something new today for the wall. It's actually for us, it's not for the wall. But we are creating something new, we are creating some idea which is not there yesterday. So this is a habit of surprise, maybe. That forces you to maybe think of new ideas, variety of ideas. You can manipulate different ideas. You can put 1 and 2 together to make it 5, whatever. So it is something that you can try, teacher, Bhavika, in school also. Make children get into this habit of creating surprise. You yourself surprise children every day. For example, the class I was talking about that I took last month, when I entered the class, I told children, see children, there are no rules today. No rules. Whoever wants to sit here, sit here. Who wants to go and leave my session, go. Whoever wants to come back and sit again. There are no rules. Are you surprised? And they say, yes, surprised. This was never told to us. Are you happy? They said, yes, we are happy. And do you think they misbehaved? Do you think they took the advantage of what I told them? Absolutely no, right? From minute 1 to, it was a 2-hour session, to last minute of 2 hours, they were fully engaged, wanted to be there. But it was the way of talking was a surprise to them. So in classroom, you can talk of those type of ideas. Of course, related to study, you can use certain topics, since there is a question of class and home also I took about it. Maybe you can give certain ideas to think about, whether it is a language, whether it's a science, whether it's maths, whatever, geography, history. There are so many projects you can give them as individuals, as group, to trigger their creative thinking. For example, we can tell them to write an essay, and many of you are doing, I know that if you become a wind, what will you do? Imagine that you are a computer screen or a mobile screen. What will you feel? Give this type of activities to them. Very surprising ideas for them to think about. At home or at school, you can give them a false, maybe dummy project of saying, okay, if each one of you are going to have rupees 1,000, and in one day, you have to spend that 1,000. What will you do? Then you can maybe say, give some constraints to them, that you have to use that 1,000 for maybe decoration of the classroom, or maybe to help somebody else. So you put some condition to a simple statement that will trigger them more. All the real life problems that we have of natural resources, maybe trees are being cut for development, or maybe water resources rivers are getting dry. So you may give some ideas, and I know schools are having so many projects. So, but convert it to, if you want to reduce the use of paper, so that the trees will be saved. So they learn about what's the connection between trees and paper. And then they will also maybe think about what are the ways to reduce paper at home or something. You can also tell them about how to use things differently. We talked about changing the perspective. We saw the box which was turned into carrier. So you may tell them about this water bottle, the plastic water bottles that are coming are actually, we are adding waste to the earth. But instead of wasting that, can we now reuse that? And what are the different purposes for which we can use or reuse the empty water bottle? Or we can use the straws that are coming. So these are the constraints, these are the conditions that you can put them. Creative problem solving, again, like for example, I have listed some examples over here. make them think, why do most of the animals have 4 legs? Just give an open question to them to think about it. Think about it at home, think about it in a group, think or have a brainstorming session, and just see what different ideas they think about. Find consequences. What will happen if there are no umbrellas? Umbrellas ही नहीं बनाए, umbrellas ही word में से गायब कर दे, तो क्या होगा? कैसे करेंगे? क्या सोल्यूशन बनाएंगे उसके ऊपर? ये सब वो लोग सोचेंगे. हम सिर्फ एक स्टेटमेंट दे रहे हैं, but they will have different ideas to think about. How will you manage if you are in a place with no facility to cook food? Now give this statement and just wait for them to give you answer. We are not saying that there is no food available. We are saying that there is no facility to cook food. So let's see what different things they can talk about. These are different ways, different things you can always think of and maybe give challenges to their mind, triggers to their mind. But as a very basic step, every parent, every child today onwards, what can decide and do after right away this session is to think about how I can have a habit to surprise, create surprise for somebody else at least one daily. That will definitely trigger the mind of thinking creatively on so many dimensions that we have thought about of creative thinking. And perhaps right from childhood, if we give this habit, we develop this habit to children, most of the brilliant children we have, talented children will use all these dimensions of creative thinking in their cognitive process. It will become a natural process to them, and they will create some creative product. They will demonstrate creativity, not only just demonstrate their skill and talent. I think because the way you are asked me very meaningful questions, I have covered all my content about what creative thinking is, how we can enhance it, how surprises will help in enhance creative thinking. I'm done on my part unless you have some other questions.
Ma'am, you have shared the detailed information on creative thinking. Even I'm also eager to ask you a question, ma'am. I'm a teacher in Acharya Shri Vijay Vallabh School, and my question to you is, what type of activities can we give students in the class?
Yeah, actually, I partly covered the answer at home and also at school, what type of activities you can give. As I said, different essays, and for essays, use very different ideas, not very maybe the ideas that we are used to, like one day you become you get a genie, what will you do with that genie, what task you will take or something like that. But different ideas, different, like if you become as I said, a computer screen, a mobile screen, what you will feel, or show them different pictures and tell them to create different interpret that picture, that photo, because as I said, maybe a couple of photos that I show or some other photos that you can also get in a day-to-day life, which are very meaningful. They talk a lot. The photo itself talk a lot. There is no title required. But then we can tell children to imagine one of the aspect of that particular photo and talk on behalf of that. Or we can give them various ideas to experiment. As I said, it could be like money-based ideas. You have just 10 rupees. What will you do with that? Right? From age specific. I'm talking from our nursery children to maybe our children of 10th and 12th or whatever. Give them the problem areas with constraints, with maybe conditions put to that. You have 10 rupees, but you cannot spend that on chocolates and toffees. But you can spend that for yourself. What will you do? Something like that. So when you give a statement, give some constraints, give some limits to what they are trying to see. Make them create something. Like you have only one paper, and with that paper, you have to tell somebody to do something. So will you write an instruction? Will you draw? Whatever, it's your part. We can give just like, for example, we can in school on a language day or on a maybe on environment, we can give them only 3 words. Say, for example, river, moon, night. And tell them to use these 3 words. Yeah, they have to compulsorily use these 3 words to create some small paragraph or a poem or something. Or we can tell them to maybe, we can give them 3 shapes, a triangle, a circle, a star, whatever, 3 steps. They have to use only one of the shape to create a full page drawing. Because some children are good in drawing, some are good in maybe languages, some children are good in performance. So you can give various activities and give them options. If you are having one class right now, for that one class, give 3-4 ideas of which children can use some options. Some maybe use it for drawing, some maybe use it for creating poetry or writing something, some maybe use it for acting. Give them some time for preparation and have them option to do whatever they want. Don't compel them to do, no, this is drawing class or this is language class and you have to write an essay only. If we avoid that, if we give them options, but give them constraints and limit, it will help them have different ideas. They will prefer to maybe work on only one idea, but they will get into more details. Okay. So think about your I know our school, how best you are all as a teacher, and you have very creative ideas. The school itself is having so many creative projects. Even with technology, having so many creative ideas, there are exchange programs going on with different countries. So you will have many more ideas created. Create a bank of ideas, you as a teacher, right from maybe pre-nursery to 10th. What are the ideas that we can give them on a daily basis, half an hour, 30 minutes, or after they go home, they will have to do some activity which is different from the textbook related, academic subject related activity. I hope my answer is good enough for you to start some initiatives in school.
Thank you, ma'am, for telling us about different activities which we can implement in our school. Now I hand over to Snehal Khataukar ma'am to give her views on today's topic. Over to you, Khataukar ma'am.
Today we had an outstanding personality, Mrs. Manjiri Sule ma'am, for the webinar on the topic, Habit of Surprising, a Boost to Creative Thinking. Madam, I really appreciate you for sparing your valuable time from your busy schedule. Our viewers were enlightened with how can we make our children more creative as per their interest? What is the difference between creativity and creative thinking? How can we enhance creative thinking? And what kind of activities can be given to the students in the classroom to develop creative thinking? After gaining this knowledge, our viewers are enlightened with the topic, Habit of Surprising, a Boost to Creative Thinking. Thank you. Over to you, Rupali.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I hand over to Avelina for vote of thanks. Over to you, Avelina.
Thank you, Rupali. I, Avelina John, deem it a great honor and privilege to propose a vote of thanks for today's interesting webinar. First and foremost, I thank our special guest, Mrs. Manjiri ma'am, who despite of her busy schedule has found time to grace us with her extreme knowledge. I am grateful to our chairman, Shri Subhashji Parmar sir, as his able guidance and continued support has always encouraged us. I thank our committee members, trust members, our principals, and our teachers for their unstinted support for this webinar. I owe special gratitude to the technical team for their valuable contribution and hard work. Last but not the least, I thank all my viewers for their presence and cooperation in making this webinar a resounding success. So stay tuned with us for many more exciting upcoming webinars. Thank you and have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you everyone.
Acharya Shri Vijay Vallabh School, Pune, India. Thanks all our viewers for giving their overwhelming response. Thanks to our today's eminent speaker,